my name is Kaylyn, and today I want to talk to you all about the chilling case of what happened to Noel Angel Rodriguez-Alvarez. I figured for my return to YouTube, I would switch things up a little. So in this video, I will be covering a case that I consider to be solved, although when we get into the actual facts of the case, that might be a little bit less clear to some of you, but the alleged perpetrator is currently in custody. The details of this case are sick, to say the least, and this crime was so high profile that the perpetrator was actually added to the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list in 2025. Because of the nature of this crime, I will not be able to discuss all of the details of what happened in this video, as it would not be suitable for YouTube, but I'm gonna try my best to kind of get across everything that's important. With that being said, today's case needs a content warning. The victim of the following crimes is a child. For most, there are no cases more difficult to hear about than those against children. Topics such as neglect, harm, substance misuse, and the presumed death of a child will be discussed. So if that is at all triggering for you, please click off this video. Take care of your mental health. That is always paramount. I cannot express how difficult it was to research this case and put this video together, but I think it's so important to be able to recognize the warning signs of neglect to prevent the incidents that occurred in today's case. So without further ado, let's get into it. Noel Angel Rodriguez-Alvarez was born on February 2nd, 2017, in Texas to his mother, Cindy Rodriguez-Singh. His biological father was, from what I found, located in Mexico, but it's unclear if he was actually in the picture when Noel was born. And Noel was born premature and subsequently had health issues. As he grew into a toddler, it was apparent that Noel had many developmental disabilities, such as visual impairment, delays in speech, a limp, esotropia, which is where the eyes turn inward toward each other, and he also had a chronic lung disease that required recurrent treatment. He had brown hair, brown eyes, and the sweetest little smile. Unfortunately, I couldn't find much information on Noel's personality and descriptions of who he was, but from what I did find, he seemed to be a precious and loving little boy. Before I get into the actual case itself, I need to provide you all with some context as to the situation that Noel was born into. His mother, Cindy Rodriguez-Singh, was born in Dallas, Texas on January 30th, 1985. Cindy married a man named Arshdeep Singh. Following Noel's birth, there's not a lot of details on their marriage or anything like that, or like when they got married necessarily, but it was definitely after Noel was born. And Cindy had 10 children total. She was no stranger to the misuse of substances, and in 2020 was sentenced to a 10-year probation for a DWI where she crashed her car into a pole. To make it even worse, she had 2 of her children in the car at the time of the incident. In December 2021, 3 of her children, including Noel, were temporarily placed with a foster family before returning to her care. I couldn't find details on exactly why that happened, but I'm guessing it was due to the substance misuse. 3 other of her children remained with the grandparents, and it's very clear that issues with substances were extremely present in the home, and the environment for the Rodriguez children was very unstable. Where the case actually takes place is in Everman, Texas, in the fall of 2022. This was the time of year when Noel would have been required to start schooling according to state laws. However, by this time, Noel was not entered into the mandatory schooling. Additionally, he had not shown up for doctor's appointments that were scheduled starting July 2022. According to one of Cindy's acquaintances, she had asked them if she could borrow their child for a medical appointment during that time. I'm sorry, what? Borrow their child? Police became aware of Noel's absence and began investigating in 2023. He was officially declared missing on March 24th, 2023. To backtrack a little bit, in October 2022, he was actually spotted staying at a hotel for the birth of his baby sisters, and at that time he was described as seeming unhealthy and malnourished. On November 1st through the 2nd of 2022, Cindy actually applied for passports for her children, except for Noel. According to her own sister, Cindy feared that the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services would come and take her children away, as they had done before, because of her issues with substances. In March of 2023, a welfare check was conducted at the Rodriguez family home. When confronted by authorities, Cindy had claimed that Noel was actually staying with his biological father in Mexico following his father's deportation. And then 2 days later, Cindy's husband, Arshdeep Singh, sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, he stole $10,000 from his job and then deposited $8,000 of it into the bank that same day. Following the bank deposit, the family, which included Cindy and her husband and 6 of their children, drove to the Dallas-Fort Worth airport and boarded a flight to Istanbul, Turkey. Based on previous internet searches, it's believed that they actually traveled further after the flight, probably to India. On March 25th, an Amber Alert was issued for Noel. 5 days later, a felony arrest warrant was issued for Cindy and her husband. And this felony arrest warrant was for abandoning and endangering a child. It's important to note that before Cindy's own disappearance, she mentioned to her mother and brother that she had sold her son Noel to a woman in a Fiesta Mart parking lot. Not only this, but she had commissioned the construction of a concrete patio at the home. Her husband also removed and discarded a carpet, which previously furnished a shed that they had demolished. When investigating, the carpet had traces of human remains, and sniffer dogs also alerted to the scent of human remains near the concrete patio. Unfortunately, the demolition of the patio and a broader search of the home and the property turned up nothing. To this day, the body of Noel Rodriguez-Alvarez has never been found, but it is suspected that he was murdered by his own mother and potentially her husband. Something interesting and potentially unrelated, but I think it's just kind of fascinating to mention, is that Cindy actually worshipped and idolized Santa Muerte, which is described as the patron saint who protects the cartel and activities of that nature. I don't know a lot about that. I'm just a messenger here, but I did think it was interesting. Apparently she had symbolism and representation of this patron saint all over the house, in the shed, and in her vehicle. During the investigation, authorities also found that Cindy would refer to Noel as evil and possessed by a demon because of his disabilities. It was so severe that she would isolate him from his siblings and deny him food and water. When she would catch him drinking water, she would punish him using a set of keys. I can't really go into the details. Quite frankly, I don't really want to. It's really hard to think about this happening to a sweet 6-year-old boy, let alone anyone, honestly. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. That's basically what some reports said. Now we're gonna finally get to the most satisfying part of this case. On July 1st, 2025, Cindy Rodriguez-Singh was added to the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list. This made her an internationally sought after fugitive. She had been evading that felony warrant. On August 20th, 2025, Cindy was finally apprehended in New Delhi, India by local authorities. At last, this monster was finally in custody. After her extradition to the United States, she has been held on a $10 million bond. It is clear that this child endured so much pain in his short 6 years of life on this earth, and it's something that no child should ever have to go through. This case is absolutely devastating. I don't even have words to describe the kind of emotions that these types of cases make me feel, and I'm sure the same is true for many of you. In order to honor Noel's memory and his life, the Everman City Council actually renamed a playground for children with severe disabilities the Noel Angel Alvarez Playground. They omitted the Rodriguez part of his name to distance him from the monster that is his biological mother. Not only did they rename this facility, but they expanded on it as well. I think this is a beautiful way to memorialize Noel, and I really commend them for doing this. I'm so sorry that this case was so heavy. But I truly think it's so necessary that we bring awareness to crimes against children, despite how difficult it is to discuss them. I hope listening to this today may have brought some insight into how we all can sometimes ignore obvious signs and how ignoring those signs may be detrimental to the welfare of a child. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next one.